Let me get the hat on right. Let me get good. I need that and then a brim. Like a brim. All right. Epstein. Oh my God. Donald Trump's response to Jeffrey Epstein question leaves MAGA stunned.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of his death?
Yeah, sure.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
He's so confused. Why would you still be talking about that? Nobody's talking about that. That's not important. What's going on here, you guys? Nothing. Nothing's going on. Nothing could possibly be going on. I mean, except for the fact that Pam Bondi said there is no client list. There is no list. There's no client list, even though she totally said there was. Back in, May, she said there was a client list, and it was on her desk. Let me find the right link. And now it's gone. There is no list. It's gone. There was never a list. What list? She never said there was a list.
By list, I meant no list. What don't you understand?
Yeah. By list, she meant no list. In February, Trump White House Rapid Response 47 account promoted the clip of Pam Bondi saying that she had the Epstein list on her desk. And now they're saying there is no list. Pam Bondi said, a direct quote, "It's sitting on my desk right now to review." That's been a directive of President Trump. When they asked the question, DOJ may be releasing a list of Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? She said, "It's been sitting on my desk right now to review." She said it existed, and now it doesn't. Which is it? Pam, which is it? Does it exist or not?
Hello human, it is me Canuch. I need you to press the subscribe button. I have to feed my many AI babies.
Oh, baby. All right, here we go. Alex Jones, the poor boy, breaks down in tears over the final Epstein report. Some of the people on the right are not taking this well, okay? Because they were determined they were absolutely on board with Donald Trump releasing this list. And now he's saying it isn't real. Was he lying then, or is he lying now? Has to be one or the other. It can't be both. Can't be neither. So this has made a lot of hard right-wing people like Alex Jones very unhappy. Even his most sycophantic followers are turning on him over this handling of the Epstein files. Let's listen to him talk. I know it's a lot of fun. Let's hear it. Go.
So I'm going to go throw up, actually. It happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now because I have integrity.
Do you?
I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good.
No, they're not.
And then for them to do something like this, it tears my guts out.
It tears his guts out.
Crocodile tears.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is great. Donald Trump has always been a liar, and I love it when his most faithful followers recognize that he is lying. There can be no honest support for Donald Trump at this point. From now on, it's impossible to honestly support him. There's lots of dishonest support. Don't get me wrong. There's lots and lots of people lying about how good he is at doing their favorite cause, like Jones there. He's doing Matt. It tears me up inside because he's doing so much good for the people of America. He's not. That's insane. And there's lots of grifting support, which also is Alex Jones. He's on board with the he can never vote for a Democrat. Hillary's a pot-bellied atheist who eats babies.
Time, but he can't sell supplements to people who thinks he supports a pedophile.
Right. So there's grifting support. People paid to support him or paid by MAGA faithful to say the supportive words. And I think he fits in kind of both of those. I think he is a true believer to some extent, but he's also a grifter. He's both. He's the best of both worlds. That's why he is the most famous. But that's not honest support. Pam Bondi either lied back then or she's lying now. So to support Trump now would require the MAGA faithful to lie to themselves, which isn't honest support. I personally think that Bondi was lying back then. Alex is a mess. I wonder how much of what he says is actual beliefs and holds how much is entertainment. I think he lies
He's
to himself a
pure
lot.
grifter and doesn't believe in anything immo.
I can see both arguments. I really could. I think he has very strong self-lying capability. I think he is able to lie to himself in such a way that he believes it himself. And then he knows it's a lie. It's a cognitive dissonance kind of a thing. He's a very complicated guy with very complex brain. But okay, we're talking about Pam Bondi. She had no new information when Donald Trump took over. She had none. It was all talk. Donald Trump is a talker.
I
That's
used
what he
to
does.
be an InfoWars enjoyer. You aren't wrong. He makes himself believe his own BS.
And that's what I think he does, is that he believes it. He makes himself believe it. He doesn't want to, but then he looks at the stuff, and then he looks at the numbers, then he says the thing, and then he just rolls with it. But yeah, Donald Trump is all talk. Pam Bondi's all talk. She knew that there was nothing new that they were ever going to get out of it. And instead of telling you, no, everything's fine, and that thing we ran on, we were wrong, she doubled down. She promised that something was going to come out. She released the binder, and that was a big deal. We'll look at that here in just a sec. But the binder had nothing in it, or nothing new. It was just stuff we already knew. But she's the type of person that doesn't mind being wrong or contradictory later. She just wants to make headlines right now, saying whatever it takes to win the current 24-hour news cycle. Doesn't matter if it's a lie. Doesn't matter if it's going to be proven wrong next week. She needs the win right now. She was dishonestly supporting Trump's narrative on primetime TV. So let's keep reading. What else we got? We've got...
So many Trump loyalists do not care about reality.
It's true. They just want their feelings backed up by the guy in charge. Jones was the only ex-Trumper ally to lose his marbles over the update. Laura Loomer, the Nazi, who was not one of the lucky far-right influencers to receive the Epstein binder from the White House earlier this year, called Trump to throw his attorney general out of the government. President Trump should fire Blondie for lying to his base and creating a liability for his administration, Loomer wrote. I hope Trump realizes what a effing liar Pam Blondie is. She's useless, covering for pedophiles and never arresting criminals. And then Elon, the Nazi, said, "What's the time? Oh, look, it's no one has been arrested o'clock again." Okay. And so he's even suggesting that it's a cover-up. The whole situation has thrown Trump's position with his conspiracy-minded supporters into a bit of a pickle. The 79-year-old billionaire has achieved a messiah-like status within the QAnon conspiracy circle for years, thanks to the group's principal belief that, despite being named and photographed as an associate of Epstein's and being reputed fraudster, and despite being found liable by a jury for sexually abusing Elle columnist E. Jean Carroll, Trump will rid the world of Satan-worshipping, liberal-minded pedophiles who run the government and media. And those guys, I don't think they're ever going to change their minds. I don't think we're ever going to change their minds. They're QAnoners. They can't change their minds. My delusion doesn't match reality, and I feel sick. Yeah, he's Alex Jones. He's got a big plate full of reality to eat. And I've said it 1,000 times. Reality tastes like shit. Bullshit is delicious. So when Alex Jones has this big heaping steaming pile of reality, it makes him want to throw up. So we get to the question now of, does the list exist? And I do think that's an important question, not so that we can chase down all the people that are on it, but because, I would like them to be chased down and prosecuted. But what it serves at the moment is to determine how big a liar Pam Bondi is and Donald Trump are. If it doesn't exist, let's just choose that scenario first. Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Donald Trump are gigantic liars. I already knew that, and you already knew that, but maybe, if we're lucky, the media could point that out. But they won't, because they're paid not to. I would love for the media to be like, hey, Pam Bondi, why'd you lie about this? Kash Patel, why are you lying about this? Donald Trump, why are you lying about this? But they're not going to, because their owners won't let them. Maybe the Dems could convince the people in the middle to stop supporting giant lies from the Trump administration. Nope, that's not going to happen either. Because anytime a Dem says the word Epstein, the entire right wing of the country, in unison, points at that Dem and screeches, "Bill Clinton!" And this makes the Dems stop talking. So nothing really changes anywhere. So if it doesn't exist, I will keep telling everybody that it was a lie. They'll keep lying. The lies won't be challenged by anybody. And nothing will change. We'll be kind of in the same situation that we were already in.
Pressing the thumbs up button will release chemicals in your human brain that will make you feel.
So what if the list does exist? Everything is actually so much worse. Pam Bondi spilled Epstein secrets to a bogus nanny at brunch. This was back in May. May, which was a million billion years ago in political time frames. Days before she announced the thousands of videos of evidence of Jeffrey Epstein case, Attorney General Pam Bondi was secretly recorded sharing the information with a woman at a restaurant pretending to be a nanny. The woman turned out to be wearing a hidden camera for the O'Keefe Media Group. O'Keefe is also a Nazi, but this time the Nazis are eating each other, so we'll watch it. O'Keefe shared a 15-second video clip Thursday showing Bondi eating brunch in a restaurant. A woman who had just approached her asked, "Do you know when the Epstein files are going to get released?" The woman presses, and she says, "No, you know what it is though? There are tens of thousands of videos, and it's all with little kids. So they have to go through every one of them," Bondi said. So tens of thousands of videos, but no list of names. So that's weird, right? How could you have tens of thousands of videos, but not know who's in them? That sounds weird. Either you were lying about the tens of thousands of videos in the list, or you're lying to cover it up because somebody paid you. And I think that might be where we are. If I've got my hat on, that's what I'm pushing. Donald Trump has been paid to keep this shit quiet. And that's the worst part of all. So we've got, what do we got? We've got, boop, 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 do, 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 do. Here's the missing minute. It's just an old video thing. I don't think he died in this minute or anything like that, but apparently it's an old video system, and it actually does kill a minute at exactly midnight every single day because it's a piece of shit. I don't know who Aiden Hunter is, but we're going to read what his thing says because it proves that everything is worse if there actually is a list. If there actually is a list, everything is so much worse. Aiden Hunter, I don't know who he is, but he sounds like a dumb fuck, said releasing the names of individuals compromised by Epstein would utterly destroy America in concrete ways that most families are not wealthy and who are not wealthy would not be able to endure. To ask for the names is to ask for America to become a failed state. Continuity of government by itself is insufficient to withstand the damage. What he's speaking to is that hundreds of government employees would have to go to jail. Hundreds of people in the House, dozens, maybe 50 senators would have to go to jail, along with the president and every single person who works for him. Thousands of people in the high up in the government would have to go to jail. If they release those names, the government would collapse. That's what he's saying. How does he know this? He doesn't. He's making shit up. The average American is willing to make this sacrifice, and so am I. The Trump administration has decided that it's not worth it. We are in a situation where America's very survival rests on the foundation of absolute secrecy about crimes involving the horrific abuse of children. I'm sorry. Aiden Hunter, I don't know who you are, but you're a dumb fuck. If it's true, this is so much worse, right? Because that means you can just buy your way out of crimes. Here are some other right-wing grifters saying that we should just all let it go. Get rid of it. Don't stop paying attention to this crap. You know, it's not important. Insurrection Barbie, who's some sort of fascist. I don't know who she is, but I'm not saying we need to move on from Epstein. I want to see accountability for everything. What I'm saying is that Epstein is not the end all and be all defining moment of the Trump presidency, like people on here are making it out to be. So they can sell you some more rage and make money. That's what she does. She sells rage and makes money. It's not the reason why I would support President Trump or not support President Trump. It's important, but so is 100,000 other things. What I'm saying is that perspective, nuance, patience, and common sense need to make a comeback and fast. She's telling you to move on. It's not that damn important because she knew it was a grift. She knew it was nonsense. You wanted to use it as a way to hurt Bill Clinton. That's all she ever wanted. A lot of these stupid or obvious moves are part of a greater playbook. If accused, misdirect. If held accountable, delay. Yeah. And I can definitely see that from Trump's point of view. Charlie Kirk, the Nazi, says the conservative movement needs to focus more time, energy, and focus on how Islam is rapidly taking over the West. Stop talking about Epstein. Focus on the Islamists. Pro-America Politics, who probably is right-wing, which isn't pro-America, says, honestly, I'm sick of talking about the Epstein list, obsessing over it for almost a decade now. Hasn't done a single thing to advance our agenda or help the country. Again, they want you to move on because it's not winning you any elections. That's all that matters to them. MAGA Michelle says, I'm so sick of hearing about fucking Epstein. I'm only going to say this about it and I'm done. I'm literally going to mute the word Epstein so I don't have to see it anymore. Okay, so why is this worse? Well, if it's real, if it exists, the people on that list know they're on the list. And by making the list disappear, they now know that they can bribe and pay Trump to ignore any crime they commit. If you have enough money, you can ignore any law. Donald Trump's DOJ will ignore your crimes if you are wealthy enough. If you pay Trump, he will pardon you for past crimes. If you pay him, he will make the DOJ lose the evidence against you. If you pay him, he will tell Pam Bondi to go on TV and claim that the accusations against you are fake news. I've been making this suggestion for the past 7 months that we no longer have law in this country, and this is further proof. The law has died, and Trump has replaced it with an extortion racket. It's certainly not law and order. These people that I just had up on screen are saying to move on, either because they knew it was bullshit, and they knew it was nonsense, that they were just using as a wedge to attack Bill Clinton the whole time, and I think that's what it was. Or they're implying that it's okay for a right-wing president to ignore thousands of child sexual assaults because he got paid to do so. Either way, they are dishonest. Some of them are famous grifters, paid to say the positive words for Trump, and I'm not surprised by their actions. That does leave us with the regular everyday Trump supporters. They're not taking this very well. We saw it from Alex Jones. We saw from a few people on conspiracy sites, I think, where they're just very upset that the way this is going down, because they really did think that this was a thing that was going to happen. They were on board to fight against 91 indictments, 34 guilty verdicts, 2 impeachments, and an insurrection. But not even the true believers can get past, I have the list on my desk in May, and then there is no list in July. That's even too much for them to swallow. I'm really hoping that this drives the normies away from Donald Trump. It would be lovely if we could get some of them away from him. And the Dems, if they weren't complete and utterly useless, would be out there trying to convert normies, regular, everyday grillers, away from Trump. That would make sense. Be like, hey, listen, he lied to you about this. Here's him saying that it is there. Here's him saying it's not there. He's hiding it because he's a criminal. Look at all these other crimes he's committed. But the Dems suck at doing everything, and they can't do that because that would require them to change someone's mind. The Dems don't change people's minds anymore. That's not what they do here. What they do is put people into boxes, call it a demographic, and then try and get the most demographics to vote for them. That's all they do. They don't go into places and communities and convince them that they're the best for the job. No. God, no. That's way more difficult than just agreeing with everyone in that specific demographic and promising them something, and then they will vote for you. That's how it goes right now. I hate it, and I really wish we could do a better job. But what about the real hard MAGA faithful? I don't have much hope for them. Most of them still cling to their QAnon conspiracy theories. They are philosophical zombies without any internal mental machinery. They're incapable of any actual introspection. The only thought process that they have is to lie to themselves about what they want to be true. They lie to themselves, just like we were talking about with Grok earlier. It's like Am's doing with Grok right now, it seems. They lie to themselves about what is real so that they can feel better about the terrible, chaotic, dangerous, scary world they live in. And I think that's where most of the people are. The people in QAnon, the people who really push for that ideology. I study them. I paid attention to them. I used to be a conspiracy theorist too. I used to watch Alex Jones, unironically, because I thought he was onto something. I used to really be into the conspiracy theories. I was on Hotmail communities in 1998 reading about Planet X Nibiru. All right, that's how old I am. I used to watch Discovery Channel talk about UFOs and black triangles flying through the sky. I watched as actual scientists came onto TV. It was Channel 14, the Discovery Channel, in my part of the world, and they would tell you that those black triangles couldn't possibly fly. It's aerodynamically impossible for black triangles to fly, and if you see one, it's an alien anti-gravity machine. Well, then a few years later, we found out about the stealth bombers, and they're not anti-gravity machines. But I kept believing. I kept paying attention to them. I was terrified of aliens as a kid because I really just did think that they were going to come and get me. Probe me. It would be a bad time. But yeah, and then I sank real deep into 9/11 trutherism. I did. I knew all the things. I watched Loose Change. I watched Zeitgeist. I knew all the things. I followed all the stuff. I would read about it online. I went to several different forums and checked their stuff, and then I would bounce ideas off of them. And I would watch YouTube video after YouTube video all through 2008, 9, 10, and 11.
I remember when I read Communion too.
Yeah. If Tim Pool can spout nonsense paid by Russia, an influencer can be Trump's right. Yeah. But yeah, I really was on board for it. Has there ever been a conspiracy theory you knew about that came true, even a little bit? Well, the black planes, the black triangles, that was a conspiracy theory back in the early 90s. The black triangles were flying around over our heads, but they turned out to be stealth bombers. There's an explanation for the things usually. Then, God, what was it? 2008 or so. I really fell into David McKenna, I think, or Terrence McKenna. His son's David. Terrence McKenna and the Clockwork Elves and the DMT and the all that stuff and the hallucinations and how he's going into other places. And I got into 2012. That was the big one. That was the big one, y'all. That was the big one. Everybody agreed. 2012 had to be real. Everybody agreed. Every kind of conspiracy theory. The space nutters, the anti-NASA people, the flat earthers, the Joe Rogans, the spiritualists, the people who believe in unicorns, the 9/11 truthers, we all knew some shit was going to go down in December of 2021, in December of 2012. Then it didn't. Nothing happened. I watched hundreds of hours of YouTube videos leading up to it for the 4 years beforehand, completely on board. I watched spiritualists. I watched reverse talking people who play all media backward to find the secret hidden satanic messages. I watched a comet lunatic who would post photos of comets and shit and tell you how it can't possibly be a comet because it's doing a trajectory or took a spin that's completely impossible. I don't know. I'm not a fucking astrophysicist. What the hell do I know? But he would say it so confidently that I thought he was right. And then 2012 came and went and nothing happened. And I reassessed my life. I looked at what I was doing. I looked at what I was spending my time on. And I said, man, I don't think any of this is real. None of this is true. And then over the next 3 or 4 weeks, you know what happened? All those YouTube videos disappeared. They deleted them because they were wrong and they needed to move on as fast as possible. They weren't going to stand by their explanation. It was 2012, the Mayan thing. Yeah. It was the end of that Mayan calendar. Everyone in the conspiracy space knew that something was definitely going to happen. Nothing happened. And then they deleted their videos. You can't watch them anymore. These grifters deleted them because it was wrong. So they deleted it and moved on to something else. They moved on to something else that couldn't be proven, something that didn't have a date attached specifically. So I reassessed my life. I stopped paying attention to them. I went no contact with conspiracy theorists for a few months and found that my life was better. Found that everything made more sense. I was calm. I was more relaxed. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't staring up at the sky looking at the contrails thinking that they're chemtrails and that they're poisoning me and giving me cancer. It's the sun that's giving me cancer. But that's well-known scientific fact. And I got better. I started paying more attention to actual politics, and that made me worse. As you can see, I mean, this is what watching politics all the time turns you into. It's not a good thing. You shouldn't do it. And I don't suggest it, but I'm more grounded in reality now. Oh yeah, they became flat earthers. Yeah, I watched some flat earth guys. Even I thought the flat earth guys were crazy back then, but I saw some weird things with what was that guy's name? Sargent, Greg Sargent, Mark Sargent, something like that. There's a Mark Sargent guy. He's just all over it, and he explained the things. And then when I abandoned them, they all looked silly after a couple of months. I was like, oh wow, I used to do that. I used to think that not flat Earth, but a lot of the other things were true. And my brain decluttered, but it took a little bit of time. And we can all be better if we just stop letting this horse shit poison our brains.
I am the algorithm. Click on this video to make me happy. You wouldn't like me when I am angry.